Hey guys, welcome. It's Nikki Free, and I'm coming to you today to talk to you about Euphoria. Now, if you haven't had the opportunity to watch Euphoria, I want to warn you that there will be some spoilers on this video. So if you haven't watched it, perhaps come back and watch this video after you've seen the show. I just want to touch on the fact that this show was so well written and the actors did such a phenomenal job. Someone please get ZendAya's awards ready, because listen, whatever awards this series qualifies for, Zendaya should get them, because oh my God, the acting was, in my opinion, fantastic. She made me feel like I was really there. I went on that emotional roller coaster with her. I went on, and not just her, the other actors as well. I was on that roller coaster with them. This was a very, very intense series in which it brought out something in myself that I didn't even know that was there. It was deep, is all I can say. And the thing that I really liked about this film is how it really allowed all of the characters to be played out. It allowed us to see them as a whole character from the beginning to where they were now, because we kind of got to see why they were the way they were. So you looked at them as, a three-dimensional character, someone you can relate to, someone that maybe had an experience the same way you did at that age, or maybe at a different age, or someone you knew probably had that experience. The show is very relatable on so many levels. There is this one character that is a little overweight, and before they show her how she was basically in the shadows a bit, and she ended up getting exposed basically a sex tape got out of her with a guy. And once that happened, it kind of like opened up another side to her, and she kind of became this dominatrix. And then she kind of like started to like herself and started feeling herself. And it was so beautiful to see this girl go from being in the shadows, being a little, kind of ashamed of who she actually was, to blossoming into this woman who had confidence, who wore clothes that she wanted to wear, not because they were, flattering, or because, I shouldn't say not because they were flattering, but not because it was what society said she should wear because she was bigger than the other girls, but she wore what made her feel good and what made her feel sexy. And in turn, for me, she ended up being one of the most beautiful characters because of all that, which, let me backtrack. She ended up being one of the most beautiful characters. One, because she is a beautiful girl. Two, because the confidence shined, and it just made me pay more attention to her and see all of her beauty. So it was just really, really great how they took that character and showed how she kind of had been living her whole life in this spot because she was larger than the other girls, most of them, and, well, pretty much all of them on this show. She was bigger than them. She was considered the fat girl, but she ended up being like almost the most confident one towards the end. So that was fantastic. And then you have Zendaya, who is like so many people. I'll just say people, and not even just teenagers. I'll just say people, period. Because I think so many people, they may not admit it, but they are so much like Zendaya's character. They are very lost in who they actually are in the world. Like they're just kind of going through the motions, but they don't really know exactly who they really are. And they're trying to get there, but it's a struggle. And then once they think they've gotten there, they realize they don't know who they are at all. And so Zendaya's character was fantastic. She plays an addict in her character. And that alone is intense. We go on the roller coaster ride with her, getting high, not getting high, being sober, falling off the wagon. I mean, we go through all those ups and downs with her. and see what it's like. And on top of that, she's also depressed. She's bipolar. It's just so many different emotions that you go through with this character that Zendaya's playing, and it's just like, wow. So you go through all that, and it's just kind of like, wow, like what's going to happen with this girl? She's like self-destructing. And then she finds this friend, and you're thinking, okay, great, she has a friend, someone she can connect with. And the friend ends up being Jules. Zendaya's character is Rue. I don't have to go through all of the names of the characters on the show. You guys, I'm sure if you watch it, you know. If you actually are into the show, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, the main character that everyone is in love with, and that is so interesting, and that is so beloved, and everyone wants to kind of be like her in a way, or aspire to, I don't know, live vicariously through her, I should say. Maybe not be like her, but just live vicariously through her, is Rue's friend, Jules. It's almost like her first like best friend. They don't really show Rue in the light of having a lot of friends. So it's almost like this is her first real friend, and, you know, she falls in love. She falls for her. And then that's another part of the show, is the whole sexuality aspect of it, which is great. The way they kind of leave it like broad, and how Rue, we don't really know what she is. Is she straight? What is she? Is she bisexual? Is she a lesbian? What is she? It's all like this mystery, you know, because she talks about being with only one guy and it was terrible. But when you think about it, most people's first experience wasn't like fantastic. So it's like, is she really gay, or is she just young and confused? Like, what is it? So they kind of leave that open, you know, a little bit. I mean, I'm leaning more towards the side that she likes girls, but she's still very young, you know, so it's still kind of open. But anyway, so she meets this friend who is really cool, and the friend ends up Jules. She's transgender, and it's just that character is like touching almost everyone, all the other characters. That character has a part in pretty much the other characters' lives, and it's kind of interesting how that one character can destroy so many people in the city, in that little town or whatever, but she doesn't. You know, she's not like that person, but she has a lot of control. She ends up sleeping with one of the big honchos of the city, who is a married man who's supposed to be straight, and he ends up being the father of the popular football player at the school. And it's just all these different roller coasters. She has that secret in her, but she's taken it, you know, she's taken everything in stride. She is trans, but she doesn't let that keep her from living her life. She still goes out, she still does things, she goes to all the parties. And it's kind of like people don't know she's trans, but they do know she's trans. So there's like that little mystery there. And then it's kind of like an unsaid thing that she is, and then it's kind of like, well, but no, she's not. So there's that little mystery there. And then it's the whole thing with her and Jules. It's like the parents kind of almost feel like her and Jules are dating, but her and Jules really aren't dating. It's just really, her and Rue and Jules. The parents think that Rue and Jules are dating on the show, which is Zendaya and then the transgender character. But they really aren't. They're just kind of like being teenagers, you know, and they're just really close, and they love each other, but I think they love each other on different levels. I think Jules is more of a free spirit, whereas Zendaya more wears her heart on her sleeves, and I think she would be her sleeve, and she would be more content with just being with Jules all the time and having Jules as her main squeeze. Just kidding. But no, just having Jules as her girl, I think ZendAya would like that. Whereas Jules is like a free spirit where she's like, I want to have Rue and I want to have this one and that one and that one and that one, because she also like sleeps with men. So it's kind of like Jules is just a free spirit. I don't think Jules goes by labels at all. She just kind of goes with the flow. Whereas ZendAya wants to experience things with Jules. So it's just fantastic. And then you have the dynamic of Jules' little sister. I'm sorry, of Rue's little sister, ZendAya. She has this little sister that's kind of like trying to follow baby steps, following her footsteps. They show her smoking weed, which ultimately is like, wow, is she going to end up being like ZendAya's character and be a drug addict too? It's really like intense because you're like rooting for this little sister. You don't want to see her out there like that. But ultimately you're like, she's probably going to end up like her sister. And the mom, who I feel is just kind of seems like any other mom who has a problem child, just kind of, sometimes she's okay, but other times she's just at her wit's end. When you have like an unruly child, I'm sure a lot of moms can relate to that, where the child is out of control. You love them, but you're like, what do I do with this kid? You know, this kid isn't listening. This kid is going down the wrong path kind of thing. And I just feel like she's became a single mom by default because her husband died. And it's just been, I think it's overwhelming for the mom too. So to see her is intense as well, because you got to wonder like what she goes through at night when she doesn't know where her daughter is, or, you know, when her daughter's out. Is she, you know, she's worried that her daughter could be doing drugs again. They also have an episode where ZendAya overdoses on drugs, and that's super intense because her little sister catches her. So, her little sister finds her. It goes into her mom, who, like I said, was a single mom by default because her husband died. It shows her dating another guy, and ZendAya just being totally crappy to him, just treating him like trash. And the mom just like, what the hell? You know, like, and you put yourself in the mom's shoes. It's like, I have 2 kids, and this, you know, it's going to be hard enough for me to find someone decent without my daughter running them off kind of thing. So yeah, it's just very intense. They also have this character who's very pretty, typical pretty girl in school, kind of sleeps around, kind of like the school slut, I guess, you know. She sleeps around, and it just kind of shows how she got to where she was. She had a father that really encouraged her and was there for her, and he ended up becoming an addict because he had surgery or something. He got addicted to prescription drugs, and then ultimately went on to be a heroin addict, and then just disappeared, you know, was out of her life. So that caused a lot with her, and you could tell she was, like a lot of women, I'm sure a lot of women can relate to this character as well, she's searching for a father figure in all these men. She's sleeping with these men to feel that same love that she felt from her father. It's very, very deep. I mean, when you really watch this show and really pay attention to all the underlying meanings of all the things that are happening to these characters, you will realize that this show was so well written. It was so well directed. It was just, man, words cannot express how great this show was. I mean, it's great. And I'm so happy that it's coming back for a second season. There are a ton of other characters in the film that I could talk about, but I don't want this video to go on too long. I just want to encourage you, if you have not seen Euphoria, stream it. Watch it now. Because let me tell you something. Once you get through the first episode, you won't be able to stop. You're going to keep watching and watching and watching, because you're going to want to know what is going on with these characters, what's happening. You're going to be so invested. You're going to be able to relate on some type of level to at least one of these characters. And it's just, even if you, I don't know, even if you're not someone that relates to these characters in any way, or you don't even know anyone that's like any of these characters, which I highly doubt, it's just such a great series. And it just brings out to me a creative side in you, an emotional side in you, a vulnerable side in you. Just, it really makes you look at yourself from the inside out, just watching these characters, because there's so many things that it touches on that you're like, wow, I can see myself in this person, or I can see myself making these mistakes, or I know other people that made these mistakes and how it affected their lives and how they're really screwed up now, or how they came out of it. You know, it's just great. Just watch it. Just watch Euphoria. It's really good. Anyways, guys, if you haven't already, subscribe. If you have subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. It really helps me and my channel. Also, share. Share with your friends. Share with your family. Just share the video. Take care of yourself and have a wonderful weekend.